slap poker. I lose, I slap you. That's a fun game. You lose, I slap you. See how it works? Hello? How's that going to be holding it like that? Oh, turn off all your ringers. I forgot last time.
Oh, yes.
And I binged and bonged. Everything bings and bongs. Somebody needs to walk up to my house and my whole bag chimes.
I'm turning you up, Patricia.
Me? All right. How's that?
I meant to turn so.
I was listening to one in the car and I was too low, so I turned it up, and then I guess you fixed something, and
then you were right.
I was like, ugh.
Oh, I left my cell in the car. Okay.
Good.
How's that?
We won't hear it from there.
Is that, yeah, exactly.
How do you
won't be
feel
bothered.
yourself?
Is that okay?
Can you hear yourself?
I do, and I hate hearing my voice, but again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
It took me about listening to 10 episodes before I didn't care anymore.
Really?
Yes.
I just always feel like I sound like 10 years old.
I
I don't know
know
why.
And then after a while,
I
you're
don't like
like,
the sound of my voice either.
I don't even care anymore.
You don't? Okay.
No, after I was like self-conscious at first,
Yeah.
and then after 10, that was
Oh, let me turn
Really,
mine.
that was the cutoff. You were
it was
like,
it. Yeah. After
is
that,
what
I
it
was
is.
like, it was the same every time, and I was just like, that's me, and whatever.
yeah, that's a good attitude, actually.
It only took 10 hours of listening to my own laugh and voice to be okay with it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I still can't stand Corey's voice, though.
I can't stand my voice either.
Corey, it's not fun to make fun of you when you agree with me. It takes
the sting out.
It takes the zing right out of the zinger. He's like, me too.
I'm just trying to adjust so I can. Yeah,
I'm glad you're
Hello?
feeling better.
I am feeling better.
Am I going to get cooties? This is like the cootie couch? This is where you were chilling?
You brought. No, I wasn't chilling there.
No, okay. Good.
I spent most of my time upstairs in the bedroom.
Did you have the flu?
I did.
He certainly
sorry.
did.
Oh, it's the worst.
And I got the flu shot. And,
You did?
Yeah, and I had a 103 fever for like 2 days. I was hallucinating about pies. It was crazy.
Did
my
you do a lot of
gosh.
sleeping?
Yeah.
Were they meat pies? Were you missing
No,
meat while you were
it was
sick?
like blueberry pies.
Have you had blueberry pie since?
No, I don't
You should
like-
treat
no.
yourself.
I'm not a big fan of blueberry pies.
Treat yourself.
Then why were you hallucinating about it? You should have been hallucinating about something.
Listen, let me just adjust this volume real quick.
Are we your volume? Oh, wait.
No, you're like super loud.
Something happened. I went a little flat.
Yeah, I turned you down a little bit
Okay,
because
that's-
you were wicked loud based on the meter.
Is that just volume?
Yeah, talk again.
Is that just volume?
Yeah,
I found
You're
sound a
good.
little.
You're
okay.
good. The dog's barking. Hey everybody, this is Corey,
And this is Trisha.
and this is the Cheshire Cast. We're in mid conversation. If I told you about all the things that I hallucinated about in my life,
No, we were just talking about the flu hallucinations.
just the-
the rest you can keep to yourself.
okay. All right.
The drug ones, I don't want to hear about.
I mean, I just, sometimes you get super exhausted from reading a lot and you hallucinate things. I don't know.
Did you just make that up?
I
I
did.
read a lot. I read a lot, like way too much, and I haven't hallucinated.
I did
I've
make that.
hallucinated at times. A fever will do that to
It
you,
did.
Cora. A fever will mess
Listen.
you up.
I legit felt like I was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
All right. Well, the fever's there to kill the virus and not to kill you.
That's
so,
a song reference.
Beatles.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
LSD too. See how it's all.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Yeah.
Picture me on a boat on a river.
Mm-hmm.
I know it. I know it well. I even knew lyrics.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm sorry it was the flu. Did you get Tamiflu?
I did.
Did it help?
It
Was
did.
it like a week?
Yeah,
Are you back to work?
I am.
Okay.
I'm back to normal almost. Like 95%.
Still catching up on some sleep.
Still catching
Still
up on some
tired.
sleep. Still have a residual cough, so I apologize to our listeners if it pops out. It's just the way it is
You know, I because of this
because of
this coronavirus going around, there's some information.
I've had the coronavirus.
I doubt you did.
Yeah.
But
Don't you get it from like 36 coronas?
No, that's a hangover, Corey. That's a hangover. It's not the same thing.
Different thing?
They're entirely.
Okay.
Although they feel probably just as you feel like you're gonna die.
Because after 36 coronas, it's pretty brutal. They wouldn't let me on a plane or nothing.
Oh, Corey.
Like, you can't leave Cancun.
And look, you lived too.
Please, I need to go.
The antidote is
Sorry.
lying.
Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of coronavirus.
Well, you're kind of making fun of yourself. I guess you can do it that way.
Yeah.
They said the statistic I was sent in an article was last year, 80,000 people in the United States died from the regular flu.
Regular flu.
Mm-hmm. Last year, 80,000 people.
I thought I was going to die. I was thinking, is my
bet you
life
felt like
insurance up to like, what's
No,
Trisha going to do?
Not only you, but your wife,
Yeah.
who still has, her chest is still hurting.
Yeah. She's,
And a sprinkling of, a smattering of your kids got
yeah,
it.
kids got it too.
You know,
Oh,
you
gosh.
you share a sharing family.
Yeah.
All right, but
Sharing's caring.
you're all on the mend.
We're all on the mend.
All right, and you got your flu shots.
I did. I got my, it's just.
It's not a flu vaccine. It's more like a vitamin against the flu. I don't know. The statistics don't bear out.
Well, for weeks ahead of time, I was praying that I wouldn't get the flu. I was hoping I was going to be exempt based on religion. And it didn't.
The umbrella of prayer was going to save
didn't-
you from germs.
It didn't help.
It didn't.
No.
Maybe you need to pray harder.
No. And then I
You need to pray to
hallucinated
a
and I
different
saw
God.
God and he was like, haha,
Well, that's what
here's
happens
some
when
blueberry pie.
that's what happens when you only talk to him when you need something.
Yeah. No, I talk to him a lot.
Do you?
I do.
All right.
Because I need.
Like when you curse, like God.
No. I talk to. The way I see it is I'm either talking
This
to.
explains a lot.
I'm
by the way.
talking to an invisible being who might hear me or whoever is within earshot. So
Maybe somebody can help you.
yes.
Do you pray for like end of hunger
I don't
and world peace?
No, I don't necessarily pray for things. I just
You
kind of
pray
like,
for like one more beer in the fridge. Like, man, I hope there's one more beer in the fridge.
I just say things like, I hope I'm the guy who looks good in an Alice in Chains shirt today.
Does this white long sleeve look good under
Like,
this black short
my,
sleeve?
my prayers are very simple.
Should I have gone thermal white
Like,
sleeve or
Let me
just
be
cotton?
the best Corey I can be today.
Corey, I like that
Can
prayer.
I smile
Nice.
to? I have. Okay, I smile at 16 people today and pay it forward at Dunkin' Donuts and don't post about it on
How do you-
Facebook.
How do you
That's
function?
true character.
How do you function with that many thoughts going on at one time?
That's not a lot of thoughts. You got to spend a day in my head.
No.
Oh yes.
I'm trapped in my own. We
Yeah.
all know our own madness that is behind our eyelids.
One of the most amazing things I ever did was Adderall.
Calmed you right down.
It
Focus
it does
to
this
one
amazing
voice.
thing where where you're actually able to focus on one thought at a time. So
What must that be like?
I would write down all my thoughts on that one thought. So I'd fill up a one subject notebook on blueberry pie. And then I would go on to
So
the
that
next
really
notebook.
didn't help you with productivity if you spent all your day writing.
Well, it helped me with, yes, you should see my writings. They look like a serial killer. It's nuts. They're crazy.
Corey, the more I learn about you, the
Mhm.
more frightened I am.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like 4 novels in all my scribbling that's upstairs.
Do you at least keep them to yourself or do you bring them out at parties? Keep them to
No,
yourself.
I keep them to myself
Good,
because,
good.
there's a part of me that's like, oh, these might be good stories. And then there's the other part of me that goes, no, I'm never showing anybody because these are terrifying.
These are my secrets.
It's not even that. I legit write stories, ideas. And then I just never do anything with
You
them.
don't make them into songs.
I
Put a sick beat behind it.
I have like file cabinets full of writings that I've never shown anybody.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
this year's going by real fast, Corey.
Yep. And this is why we do things like bring therapists into our show.
Love therapists
Yeah.
or thought
Well,
therapists. Are they
it-
flu therapists?
We have a guest in studio because you've heard her laugh. We have Cybil Ryan in studio. Hi, Cybil.
Hello.
Cybil is a licensed psychotherapist and dating coach.
Yes.
And maybe I need a psychotherapist. I don't know. I don't need a dating coach, but I might because I was thinking about it. As I'm prepping for the show, I'm starting to think what's a dating coach, right? And I'm sure you're going to explain that. That's why you're here. You're going to tell us.
Yes.
But
You're going to make him more self-conscious. God.
I start thinking,
Imagine this more self-conscious.
I'm like, I don't need a dating coach. Like, I'm married, happy, everything else.
You be you, Corey.
And then I'm thinking, would I need a dating coach in my 20s? Maybe. But then maybe I could benefit from a dating coach now, even being married, because maybe it will help my relationship to do something spontaneous. I don't know. But I thought it was an interesting, it's February, it's a month of love.
Yeah.
And we recently had on a love scammer.
Love
we
scammers.
wanted to bring on the brighter, positive side
much
of romance.
More positive view to
Right?
offer you than poor Joey.
Yes.
Yes.
So when I start digging in and I start reading, the first thing that came to my head, Cybil, was
Uh-oh.
like dating coach feels so 70s in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went, well, they made a movie about it called Hitch.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So it can't be that, but I don't know. Do you run into that kind of where people are
Misconceptions.
like, yeah, that word.
So it's funny that you put it in the 70s because online dating, as we know it, actually started in 94 with the now defunct Kiss.com. So
Ooh,
the whole
I missed that one.
Yeah. And Match came out in 95 right after and pretty much
Okay.
just took over. So, but, and I heard your other guest talking about the Match group.
Like 200.
Yeah.
They've conglomerated 200 different companies.
Yeah, and people don't always recognize that. It's all the Match group. Yeah, so it's amazing. But yeah, so it's actually a relatively new thing that we're meeting perfect strangers today.
Okay.
So before, think about how we met people. We met
The Regal Beagle.
right, exactly. We met at bars,
College.
I grew up on Three's Company.
college, or they were
Me too.
vetted by family
Grandparents.
members, right? So throughout most of
Yes.
Western history, we tended to date the boy who lived around the corner or the girl we went to school with. So this is a whole new thing that we're experiencing now as a culture.
Huh. So, but I don't know. What does a dating coach do? I mean, do you just
You have a scientific background.
I do, yes.
So
Yes,
that's in
you have to.
behavioral psych.
Yeah. Well, I was actually a sociologist.
Okay.
So I studied. That was my major. I shouldn't say I was a sociologist. I was a sociology major in college, and then went on and got my MSW and then my LCSW. And I started my career in child welfare in Hawaii, and I was there for close to a decade.
a lot of letters I didn't understand? What
I'm
are all
sorry.
those things?
Licensed clinical social worker.
Okay.
And so
MSW's
master's
degree in
social work.
social work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So the MSW comes first, obviously, and then the with the clinical license, then you're allowed to offer therapy. Basically.
All those letters you need like
know,
officers in the army have on their jacket.
At that
Sorry.
level,
Like-
they don't even really get put on things unless you're publishing. The only one that really sticks with you is like PhD or
Right,
like
exactly.
MD. Then they have to call you like Dr. Love.
Right.
do we call you?
No.
you're
Just
not
call
a
me
doctor?
Cybil. I'm not a doctor. Just call me
It's-
Cybil.
See, the MSW and the licensed clinical don't really. On your
I see.
headers, you'll get it. You'll be like brrr at the end. But
Right.
when you.
I always wondered what those letters were. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So now when I'm making my selection for my next therapist, I'll know.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I go through them like eggs.
Oh.
He wears them out. He leaves, and they're like, "This is their license." They're like, "I am never."
I quit. I don't want you to
Just
come
burn
back.
them out.
They like are packing up their office as the hour's ending.
Yeah.
They like putting their plants in the box.
My
I'm
therapy
done.
sessions, I go to therapists in Delaware
he
now
breaks
because I've like used up the tri-state area.
The word is out.
People go to Yale and then move out of state because they're afraid to get me as a patient.
Oh, he has to change his name.
Yeah. Exactly.
I do. I show up. They're like, they got a picture on the wall. This guy. I walk in. They're like, no, it's you. Get out.
No, you're not that broken. Cole. You've been in a healthy relationship for almost 20 years. You're
That says a lot about you.
Right?
Yeah.
Or her.
exactly. Well, it says a lot about your attachment style. People
Oh,
who
yeah?
don't have a healthy attachment style, it's really challenging to be in a 20-year marriage.
What do you
unless
mean
unless
a
we're
healthy-
codependent, then
There you go.
What's a healthy attachment style, though?
there's bad ones. Tell us some.
So, if you've ever heard of attachment theory,
Well, I have that on my notes.
How you bond with people.
What is
Exactly.
attachment theory? So yeah,
so it's
that was
basically
one of my questions.
how an infant bonds with their primary caregiver, typically their mother.
Uh-huh.
And if the caregiver, the mother, is a responsive, loving, consistent caregiver, what will come of that is a secure attachment, which means that you trust people, that you can interact well with people, that you have basic, relationship skills as a result of that dynamic that occurred in early childhood. So 0 to 3 that we're looking at mostly.
So you're saying because I had a good mom? Oh boy, she'll
Yeah.
hear this. She'll be like, see?
And a healthy home for like
Yeah.
the formative years of your psyche.
That's true.
It's huge. Yeah.
True.
So
My mom, she
still loves him. See,
yeah, she does. But she sang us, she sang me lullabies at night. She would
you liked
read
that,
me books,
There you
talk to
go.
me in bed, all the stuff I try to do with my kids.
There you go.
and they're like, "Leave me alone,
Well,
Dad.
now they're like,
I'm 40."
yeah.
read.
I do that to my mom. I'm like, Ma, I need the key. He can't listen.
Did
Jen's
she-
here. It's just not cool anymore.
Jen's asked me to ask you for the key back.
Yeah. Like, no more singing Torah.
You have a healthy
Okay,
attachment. She didn't.
I'm
See how that worked?
44. All right, so it's my mom's. Not
Thank
my
your
mom's
mom.
fault.
No, thank your mom. Yeah.
So you're
All right,
saying,
thanks, Mom.
you're
She's gonna
saying
listen.
There you go.
Our attachment issues that we form,
Yeah.
0 to 3,
hmm
actually affect our adult relationships,
They affect all of our relationships.
friendships, work relationships,
romantic relationships, colleagues, yeah, all of
So
it.
they could benefit them. They can also mess them up,
Right, exactly.
and we're not really aware.
No. So that's the saddest part. People are, wandering into the online dating world, not really aware of attachment theory, what their own attachment
Repeating
style
patterns,
is. what-
thinking it's by accident.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Ah.
So if
Okay.
you have an insecure attachment style or an avoidant attachment style, oftentimes you're waiting in, not recognizing that. And online dating can be really hard for you.
Harder than it actually is, even if you're perfectly, adept at social relationships.
Yep. So if your attachment style is insecure, that's what we typically associate with someone who tends to be a little more needy. Those are the words that we apply to them.
Huh.
Needy, clingy.
They need like constant affirmation.
constant
I could be that
attention.
way though sometimes.
I think everybody can, but
everyone can.
but
be
I
at
think like
times.
insecurity as a once in a while thing is human because we're constantly reevaluating and experiencing new stuff. But I think if you need it like on a daily basis from like multiple people, right? How that would be so damaging.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's true.
And so they burn out people basically with needing constant reassurance that they're liked, that they're interested in, that sort of thing.
Likes and stuff on social
this-
media.
Exactly.
I had
Okay.
I had a girlfriend like that once. I mean, that's why she's past tense.
Probably. I mean,
You run out of energy, right?
Yeah, I was kind of like, listen.
But at first, you must have found something like, oh, I can make her feel good by saying nice things. That
Well,
must feel good to be able to make somebody feel
I think when you're
whole.
dating, you're in this
the honeymoon.
It's very a lot of your thoughts and emotion are kind of numb or not as aware because this what do they call it lust.
Mhm.
You're like
Oh, like
driven
the
by lust,
initial-
so
the initial attraction.
you miss like red flags.
Right.
You miss things
or
that
you see them, but you ignore them.
yeah, you're like, and then you hit that 6-month mark and you're like, wait a minute. And then you start, and then all of a sudden it comes flooding in like
At
that
least
scene
you're
in the
hitting it.
movie where it's like Fight Club.
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
like-
you get to the, sorry, Fight
Red
Club
flag,
spoiler.
red flag, red flag.
But all of a sudden it's like, he was Tyler Durden. Like that's all my other girlfriends before I met Jen.
So research suggests that about 50% of us have an insecure attachment style. So that's not unlikely that you would have dated.
And I feel like we're all
Remember
getting
from-
a little bit more neurotic. I think that's with the
for
constant
yourself.
stimulation of social media
Yeah.
and instant gratification of electronics. How long have you been practicing?
So I started in Hawaii's Child Welfare Services in 2000. And then in about 2012, I started clinical work and
With
that-
adults?
Yeah, I've mainly worked with adults. People hear child welfare and think I worked with kids, but I worked with their parents basically. So I worked with their parents, and then when I returned to my home state of Connecticut, I wanted to continue working with women and pretty specifically worked with survivors of domestic abuse and sexual assault diagnosed with PTSD. For a while.
Ugh. That's a hard one to come out of.
I'm not going to joke. I can't make any lighthearted jokes about that. That's tough. That's an incredibly necessary field because if you go through something like that, you don't necessarily walk out of that unscathed.
I have a
No,
friend
no.
who works in that field too. She's a nurse.
Mhm.
So she deals with that end of it.
Yeah.
And we've had some conversations That's a heavy situation to be in for any therapist, first responder. Those situations can be oof.
It's tough. It is.
And
you have to
working
do a
with-
lot of self-care.
Yeah.
Working with those victims, there is a lot of socio-behavioral, like I want to say, like safety patterns that they can
That's it.
can put on after that to try and mask, not necessarily heal, but mask and move on with life. And you're there to help them fix underneath that scab.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
tough.
Exactly.
That's an amazing job. And that's a lot heavier than online dating and helping me.
Yeah, you're not just a
helping me-
dating coach.
No.
are
Helping
ya?
me present my best self
Yeah.
to a new suitor. It's a little
Right.
different.
Wow.
But that's life, right?
Yep.
That's how life works. There's the dark side of socio-behavioral processing, and
Yep,
then there's the light side.
Exactly.
So thank you for that work in that field that you do, and
Thank
for all the
you.
people's lives that you help improve and recover from that situation. And
So
most
ahead.
of the time you've been practicing, though, with relationships,
Mm-hmm.
bringing it back, dragging us back to the lighter side.
Yep.
2012.
Mm-hmm.
So you started under the guise we already had technology in place with dating.
Yeah.
So you
well,
haven't
didn't
really.
she say 2000?
2012 is when you moved
2012 clinically I started. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So prior to that I was in Hawaii. Yeah.
So the
Got it,
whole
got it.
time you've been wading through this, love pool, so to speak, people have already been coming to you with online dating profiles or people who they've met electronically and haven't met in person yet. Is that a general pattern that you see, or are you helping people already in relationships?
So I have now seen never married folks, married folks, divorced folks, and widowed folks
Okay.
in
Okay.
my role as both a dating coach and psychotherapist. Yeah. And so they'll typically find me on Psychology Today. And the way, I think, we're always concerned about therapeutic fit. And the way I think they sort of find me is what resonates with them, I should say, is my profile speaks to understanding your attachment style. And then it asks whether or not you've struggled in relationships in your adult life. Because a lot of people, like we said earlier, recognize that maybe they didn't have the greatest relationship with their family of origin and they've struggled in their romantic relationships, but they haven't necessarily connected the dots between those things. So if they have that insecure or avoidant attachment style as a result of how they were parented when they were young, and then they're trying to date, and it really starts to become really painful for them a lot of the time. So that's really what drives them into seeing me.
So you help them sort of establish some sort of blueprint for their personality,
Well,
at least their relationship personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Identifying things.
Yeah,
You do this because of this,
Yep.
and you help them fix it.
Yep. Well, so first what I do is an AAI, which is an attachment assessment interview. And it's
Oh, give Corey that interview.
I've done it for my husband actually. It's really fascinating. I've done it for myself. It's pretty fascinating.
Okay.
Well, we'll do an episode of that.
Okay. So here's the problem with that though. It's 17 questions with questions in underneath. So it typically takes about 4 to 8 weeks with clients to get through.
He's
Okay.
gonna be like 3 months.
Well, I'll still do. We can make a whole show of it. I'm sure people would love to listen to that.
It would be asking you questions as far back as the age of 4.
Okay.
You'd have to access those memories.
Is he gonna cry? Because that'd be funny.
He may.
Okay. You're like, but then I ate the cake. The blueberry
My
pie.
brother kicked the
Oh no. You never know.
ottoman away from me. We were playing the carpet's lava game,
Mhm.
and he kicked the
Trust issues. see?
ottoman away, and I missed the ottoman, and I went face first into the glass table.
Ooh.
Yikes.
I split my forehead wide open, and my dad passed out after I got stitches. I was like 4 or 5 years old.
And so began the Corey Nash saga.
The doctor,
Nothing was ever the same.
the doctor was the worst. They put this thing over my face. I was trapped. I was
You gotta stay still.
total panic, and he's trying to stitch me up. And I remember the doctor screaming and yelling at me. My father trying to calm me down. I can
Was
hear
in,
my
like,
dad's
the
voice.
1920s? When did
It's
this
like
happen?
79, 80.
Oh my gosh.
And then they took it off, and I think the trauma of the experience from my poor dad. My dad, I remembered, I can see it. I looked at him, and he looked at me. He went white.
Oh, his
And
blood
he just-
pressure's dropped.
Poor guy.
And he got wheeled out in a
On
I
a
was gonna say
stretcher.
wheelbarrow.
A
And
wheelchair.
they buried him in the yard. The end.
Painter's here.
a wheelchair.
We never saw him again after that day.
And that was like one of the few times I ever saw my father like have emotion.
He waited till
Yeah.
all the stress was done, and that was it.
Yeah,
The last
and-
straw. He was like, "Okay, I was strong for as long as
Yeah.
he needed to be. I need rest."
I saw my dad have emotion when my kids were born.
This is telling, right? Are
Yeah.
you taking? She's
It is.
taking
I'm actually
notes.
curious.
At,
She's
at
like,
my,
and then his dad
at my
fainted
wedding,
again.
when my brother was deployed overseas in the army.
Wait, this is when your dad had moments
these are
of weakness.
these are what I remember, like him showing honest emotion.
Hmm.
Talking a lot about your dad, Corey. Go
yeah.
ahead, go on.
And that's about it.
That's all your memories.
Of him like really like letting down his
His guard. Yeah.
his guard,
Okay.
like,
It's very
and
telling.
and I'm talking like really letting down his guard, where it's
You know what's funny is that you remember those
I
moments.
think that's tears. What's going on?
My
Like,
dad's not made of iron.
yeah, like
He also has feelings.
where your dad lets down his
I'm
guard.
glad they
and-
didn't bury him
and
after he
loses
passed out at the
his
hospital.
Superhero sort of.
The steel.
Yeah, it's like somebody brings kryptonite around.
Do you remember times that you've done that as a dad?
Yeah, no, not really. Sort
I
of,
wonder if your
kinda.
kids do. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if they remember
know.
moments where they were like, "Yeah, dad lost his. It's cool."
That's well, I can tell you of a situation where Ian does specifically.
Was that the electrocution episode?
No, that was at the event that happens here in the center of town.
Oh no! As a matter of fact, he probably came away from that like my dad's a badass.
No, that was
See, you remember things differently than kids will. So fast forward to when your son's 40 and then ask him what he remembers
Yeah.
that episode.
Yeah,
You never
Maybe.
know. It could be like, there's a hurricane coming. You never know how people process and work through those feelings. 40 years from now,
Uh-huh.
ask him how it is.
But it's the same turn though when we talk about like watching my dad lose. Like I remember a dozen, maybe not a dozen, like a half dozen times where my mom absolutely terrified me. Where I was like, I'm not.
Was it the look?
No, like where she like this evil person comes out.
She was
And-
going to murder you.
And I don't mean evil like she was being mean to me. Just like this different
Authoritarian figure that scared the
Yes,
hell out of you.
that I'd never seen.
But she needed to pull that out then, I bet, too. She probably saved your life.
the majority of that time was when in my adult life.
Oh.
It wasn't like
Was she protecting her grandkids?
no,
Oh, okay.
no. It was
My mom fights for my kids. You're
no. I think
you're nice to that one and you were mean to that one. Like my mom
parents,
is very
They trust my parenting ability.
they
I
don't voice their displeasure. That's good. It's a good quality.
I don't
Yeah.
get. I don't get that.
How
from
did we
them.
start talking about Corey? You see how this
I don't
is?
know.
Dad.
Sorry. It's,
Attachment.
You see what kind of episode
Right?
well, she was doing the attachment interview, and I started thinking about
You're
it.
like, one day I was It's okay, Corey. You love your dad. He's an awesome guy.
I love both my parents.
Good. Except you
to-
remember him being
I'm gonna have
weak
to
and
edit that
kind.
out.
You remember him being like weak and kind and human, and you remember her being like Cruella DeVille.
But what I'm
Did you write all that down?
but what I'm saying is, the majority of the time, my mother was
Rock
expressive
solid,
with
yeah.
her emotion. She wasn't afraid to let her vulnerability show.
Oh,
Where my
okay.
father was the
Right.
opposite.
Right.
Well, it's not so much afraid. I think it's conditioning, right?
Maybe.
Things
Especially
are
that
changing now,
generation.
too.
So
yeah.
yeah, what I'm talking about is the extreme of their personality.
And what you remember, so it had to be
Correct.
extreme, right?
Correct.
Because we don't remember like the everyday.
Yeah.
What
It wasn't like my mom had no emotion and then she was just evil. She was wonderful and caring and loving and
One of
full
the
of
most-
expression, and then
She
was
had
like, "Rah!" And I was
one
like,
of the
"What was
most
that?"
vivid memories I have of my grandmother, who was the kindest, nicest, dedicated childcare worker for the entire time I knew her. one of my most vivid memories is when she was angry with me one time.
Yeah.
Like, why does the brain do that? The brain's very cruel.
Holds on to those
it does
memories.
because
yeah.
it's so shockingly different.
Aberration, right?
My grandfather got mad at me. My grandfather Nash.
And you remember it
He got mad
vividly,
at me
right?
once.
It leaves an impression.
And he looked at me and he was like, I'm
going to bail you out this time.
No,
That's it.
He just said, I'm so disappointed. I don't even know what to say.
Ooh, the
and then
D
he
word.
walked away.
Ooh.
And I was like,
I broke my grandfather. I did it.
What? What do I do with this?
I'm going to have
and
a tantrum.
And like, he wouldn't talk to me.
You probably deserved it.
Like, yes, I totally deserved it.
I'm sure.
This is a World War II era Marine guy.
And he loved you. You guys loved each other.
Oh, yeah. And he was like, I'm disappointed, and just literally just walked away.
I have no words.
And he just, you knew that you but wait, you couldn't, you were like.
And you're used to probably manipulating yourself right into or out of the situation.
Not
with him. Not that.
No,
not that moment.
Like, I did some dumb stuff, but anyway, it's what it is.
Did you remember what you'd done?
Like I stole his car.
Oh,
you never want to ask him that. Don't ever.
Okay.
You never know.
I went too far.
You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Okay.
Well,
tread careful. He's not your run of the mill spoiled white kid.
I was living at his house.
He's pushed the limits.
And while I was living at his house, I would borrow his car. I was 14.
Okay.
So
it just gets worse.
I would borrow.
Change the subject.
I would borrow
He's going to
his
have
car.
hookers in the trunk now.
Yeah, exactly.
He is.
And I'd go around the corner and I would pick my friends up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
At 14.
At 14.
And we would go drive around. Like, we drove one time out to, there was a strip club called Cheetahs.
What at 14 years old?
In
What did
East
I tell
Haven,
you?
and we got the bright idea that we could drive there, and so, like, we're sitting in the parking lot going, okay, now what do we do? Like, we knew we couldn't go in.
There's
but
boobs in there. Think of something quick.
we're sitting
Look
outside
at the
going,
sign.
maybe,
The neon sign's good enough. All right, I'm good. I'm
maybe
good.
one of them will run out. I don't know. It's just one of those dumb,
No, I don't.
I got
Corey,
pulled
I
over
don't.
going down the wrong way, the one-way street the wrong way.
He knew you borrowed his car. Or was he just upset that you used poor judgment and got busted?
Oh no, that's not why he was disappointed in me.
Oh, I thought you stole his car.
I'm not gonna talk about that.
Okay. See, it's even worse than
It's even worse. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll let
there
it
was
alone.
a body in the trunk.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty close.
Oh, I don't want to know.
I think he would have been less disappointed if he found a body in the trunk.
All right, let's
let's
move on. Corey,
I let him down pretty hard.
Corey's got some sketch.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
I
Corey's got
really
some
want to know.
Yeah, he was.
When you bring in that questionnaire, bring lots of tissues. Bring a shock machine so you could bring him back from whatever road he travels down with his memories.
Listen, the last conversation we ever had, when we sat for like 5 hours talking, I remember one of the things he said to me last was that he was proud of the life I created. So,
Wow.
so I did something right.
We all travel
Clearly.
different paths, right?
Yeah.
Here we are. Your path brought you sitting right there, and my path very different.
Brought you here too.
I'm sitting right here next to you. Peers behind the microphone. So
now that
that's for our
we
histories.
stole her time.
Time is limitless.
So let's go back to Cybil. So Cybil,
Yes.
there's got to be. I mean, I don't know how much you can share. So yes or no or whatever. Success story.
Well, I am a success story.
You are.
I am a walking, talking. What was
Okay.
that old commercial? I'm not only the president. You know, the hair
I'm
club
not
for
only a
men.
hair
I'm also
club-
a member.
A hair club member, or
Right.
president, I'm also a member.
Didn't
And
it
then he
come
like
out-
reveals.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't it come out that wasn't true?
I don't know.
Aw,
Like it was all a lie.
I'm so disenchanted with life right now. Like you don't know what's true anymore.
It's like, that's great, Cybil, but that guy, he was lying.
It was all a lie.
So you went to somebody that helped you, or
No.
You helped yourself. You were your
I helped
first
myself.
client?
So I did online dating myself for 6 years.
Okay, can I know it's not appropriate, but
Yeah.
how old are you?
I am 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps me put a timeline. So
1975.
yeah.
Oh,
So we're all the
okay.
same age. It helps me to put you in a timeline
Okay.
because if you were 35, it would be a completely
right.
different thing.
Honestly, compliments to you. You could be 25 years old.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I'm 45.
So okay, so that puts it in a different. That's a good light to start in.
Yeah, well, I need to understand.
Yeah.
6 years ago. You
6
said?
years.
Okay.
Oh, 6 years of online dating.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was 6 years because I was doing it all wrong. Really,
what
all wrong.
years?
You were learning as you went.
I was learning as I went.
Is this AOL chat room days?
No. This was Match. This was what was some of the others I did? eHarmony. All of those. I think there was one other in the mix, but anyway. So
those are reputable ones. Like if you ask me, a layperson, those I feel those are the biggies, right?
Yeah.
eHarmony,
Yeah.
Match.com.
What year did you do Match and eHarmony?
So I met my husband in 2017, so 6 years prior to
Oh,
that.
okay.
So
all right.
2011.
So
you weren't one of the women I went on a date with in the year 2000.
you were on dating sites too?
I did a couple dates on Match in 2001.
Oh, okay.
And then I started dating Jen, and then we got married in 03.
Is that how you all met?
No.
Or no, okay.
No, we met because we were in the same circle of friends.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So your story, though.
So you were vetted. So anyway, so yeah.
He was a real person.
It was a real So like I said, I just did it all wrong. And I remember, I actually, on my website, I have a story about this. I went on a hike with a girlfriend of mine, and I hadn't seen her in a while. And so it was one of those things where I remember, driving to Sleeping Giant. We met and, just wanting to catch up with her and ask her about a bunch of things and tell her about things that had been going on with me. And it was only till I was driving home that I realized we had spent the entire 6-mile hike just complaining about our online dating experiences, just endless complaining. And I was like, this is not cool that we've, come to this place. So I just started getting really curious as to what we were doing wrong. And just started doing a ton of research.
So you blamed yourself, not the people you met.
Well,
because that in itself is a character trait as well.
Well,
you were taking responsibility.
Yeah, because 6 years is a long time. So I had to own that must have been doing something wrong, and I was. Okay. Lo and behold, my research showed, I really was. So, so I was the person who was talking to one person at a time.
You're not supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, when online dating is a numbers game. So if
I would do 3 dates a day.
I couldn't. I'm
there
so
you go.
glad
You're
I missed
the ideal. So
not in a million years could I do that.
Yeah, no, I would do a lunch.
But everybody knows everybody's seeing multiple people.
Well, so that's the thing. So this brings
Lunch,
us right
dinner,
back
and
to
late-night bar date.
attachment. So here we come back to attachment, right? If you're a secure person, sure, fine. We recognize what's going on.
You're not jealous.
Not
it's
jealous.
Okay.
You
It's
don't
healthy.
right. It's healthy. It's only when it's
Are you
time
supposed to
for
not be
us
jealous?
Well, I mean, jealousy is normal. But
There's
if
different
you're
levels, I think.
right,
If it's a stranger, you really can't be jealous of. Okay, all right.
If you're
all right.
jealous after a first date and sort of upset that they're still online,
Red
that's
flag.
suggestive of a problem,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? So
It's like a boiling rabbit.
Right.
But-
You show up at her second date with somebody else going, "You're mine."
Yeah.
You might have-
there's a problem.
Well, that's clear.
yeah.
That's clear. But there's probably shades of it that you can go a little unnoticed at first. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if he knows your mom's maiden name on the first date, that's a red flag.
exactly.
If he knows your social number,
Right.
you
Back to romance
You
scammers.
may have a stalker.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so anyway, so I just started doing a ton of research, and then I changed not only my online dating profile, but my overall approach. So I was that person. I wasn't necessarily doing 3 dates a day, but I would do about 3 a week. Whereas before I'd been like, talking to this one person for weeks, sometimes even months before I meet them, which was ridiculous,
All right.
So after
it's a
doing
numbers game. Listen
it's
to
a
that
numbers
math.
game.
All right.
So after, and I can't kind of give away the store and tell you everything
Yeah,
else, in
Right.
this, but once I sort of changed that overall approach, I met my husband 3 months later.
When
So,
you met him, did you know?
yes,
I
You
knew
did?
too.
yes,
I knew when I met Jen, but she had no idea when she met me.
huh, interesting.
I didn't know it. Her best friend was also a friend of mine, Caitlin, and at our wedding, Caitlin said in her speech, or at some point in the wedding, one of the first things Corey said to me when he met Jen, because Caitlin was standing next to me, was, "I don't know who that is, but I'm going to marry her."
Really?
And
She was dating somebody else at the time too. Like he meant it. He's like, challenge on.
she was. Turned out she was actually dating a friend of mine.
Oh gosh, the plot thickens.
Are you taking notes?
Yeah,
Because you're
sure.
gonna need all of these things. He likes a challenge. This one.
But Jen and I,
She's been trying to get away ever since, and
we
it's It's been hard for her.
We maintained our friendship.
The traps thicken.
For 2 years, we were friends, and
while she was still in this other relationship,
and it allowed
other
him
relationships, like that relationship, and another one.
It allowed him to build up that emotional friendship first.
And
that's great.
We would talk, and and I'd be jealous because I knew I liked her, but
did you like her?
I did, but
you wanted her to be free.
She's 4.5 years younger than I am,
mm-hmm.
and when I met her, she was 18.
And you had lived a life in those years too.
I didn't want to, I wanted to date her, but I was too old, too experienced. Yeah. I wanted her to, and when we got into a relationship, she was 21.
So it's almost like you waited for her. That's sort of a romantic,
isn't
actually.
it?
Yeah.
Well,
poor Jen.
He
waited for you, stalked outside her window. One man's waiting as the other man's stalking.
The fact of the matter is,
he has it all in his journals.
Jen and I had talked and agreed to not spend time together because we knew this was more than a friendship.
Sounds so complicated.
So I got my own space because I was actually staying with her and Caitlin on the couch because I didn't. Long story. And I said, I'll go get my own. So 2 days later, she's like, yeah, I miss you. And I'm like, yeah, I miss you too. And then that was it, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
All you had to do is make yourself scarce, you see?
You
said an ultimatum.
She was the only woman in my dating history that I legit wasn't in pursuit of.
Oh.
I was just always me. I never put on a show.
That's interesting.
I never. And
again,
it
this is the Corey show.
happened.
You see how this happens?
No, it's really interesting because I actually love reading mental health for a long time, just focused on pathology rather than looking at health, like what makes, things healthier. So I love reading about healthy marriages. And one of the things that comes across all the time is just the core of friendship in a healthy marriage.
Respect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's that innate friendship there.
I knew from the second, my poor husband, I saw him where we were, I was like, he's different. I'm going to go sit down and talk to him. I totally picked him up. I think to this day, we have not spent time apart other than when I'm at my mom's or he's away for work. It was just instant.
You found your person.
Instant. We
and
were
you've
older.
Been married since 2004, right?
2004. Yeah, I think we just had our 18-year, we met each other.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, when you met him, did you feel more excitement or more calm around him?
Both, but both so incredibly heightened and noticeable that it was just I still remember his eyes, the first time we made eye contact.
Really?
As crazy as it sounds.
Huh.
And then we were we escaped from life together for a week straight. People were calling us both up, are you alive? Did he kill you?
Just to get to know each other really well.
We did not come up for air for a week. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
People were like, I'm going to come check on you and make sure he's not keeping you hostage. I'm like, no, I swear to God. My family were all cops. So they were like, you left that night and we haven't seen you since. I'm like, oh, I'm okay.
I'm on a week-long date.
It was. And it never ended. And then eventually it was a week in and we were both like, you know what? You should go home and let's just and that night I was like, oh, okay, why? This is silly. And that was it. We didn't even spend that one night apart. We were married a year and a half later.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So one of the things I love, because I read about love a lot. It's
fascinating.
It's so fascinating.
It's so different too. It's all the same. It's so different.
And the funny thing is, as much as we talk about love, you'd be amazed how many accomplished people come to my practice. And when I ask them, what's your definition of love? Oftentimes it's, because we oftentimes haven't articulated what love actually looks like, what it means to us, because
we've seen it in books, right? We've seen it in the
books.
movies.
Unfortunately, we've seen it in movies.
All different types of love.
So one of the things that I find most interesting about the research on lasting, and not only lasting, but happy marriages, is they'll talk about the beginning stages. And oftentimes what they found is, sure, there was that initial excitement, but actually what people report as true love is they felt a calm. Which I think is so interesting because it's the opposite of what we see in movies and books as well. Sometimes it's like this, we mistake infatuation for love.
I think I can relate to that in the sense that when Jen and I began our courtship, I felt like it was easy.
Yeah.
And
still easy to this day.
Yeah.
It's still easy.
Yeah, it was like, and we immediately created like obstacles for ourselves, like getting pregnant. But
it turned out well though. Maybe it wasn't an obstacle. Maybe it was just like, you know what, we got this.
That's like
it didn't frighten you.
I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
Like
you met the challenge.
It's like we
got this.
Like even if this doesn't work out, this will be okay. Like I had confidence in this person that if we don't work out, she's not going to take my kid and run. I don't know.
Trust.
So again, thank your mom.
Yeah.
Thank your mom.
We bought our first property together and I was like, I could do this if she's here.
She's
cool.
also one of the most laid back, easygoing, kind people on the planet. So if anybody was going to...
Except when she's cooking dinner.
Take you in.
She hates cooking.
Does she? I love cooking. If she took you in and you guys like kind of not fixed each other, but kind of smoothed out the edges of life.
I think we made each other better.
Right?
That's the ideal.
She actually made me a lot better.
Also, I was in, or everyone I guess has a touch of it. If you've had bad relationships prior to, when that good relationship hits you, you're like, oh.
Yep, exactly.
This feels so much better.
It's so different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When you're young, you don't know. 15, you're like, I'm breaking up with you so I can cry for the next 3 hours and you can call me back. Like you want this drama and this height. And then as you get older, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I used to break up with girlfriends so I can write songs when I was in bands.
Right? It's all part of the learning process.
It's like, don't worry, in 3 days I'm going to call you back. But right now I need some emotional...
So you hate me. Call me and tell me that you hate me 5 times.
I need to write my Jagged Little Pill album.
After 3 days, right? We're so dramatic. Yeah. We're men and women. We are so dramatic as we're going through this life process.
Unbelievable.
A myth that I kind of believe in is you really can't enter a healthy relationship and like build that healthy relationship coming at it from a bad place or from an unhealthy place. So the happier and healthier you are when you get there, I think the better like a foundation is to have that healthy relationship. And there's going to be, earthquakes and bumps and bruises. But if you're really in the beginning, like at a good, safe space, you can work through that stuff. And actually that adds to the strength over time, like having a baby. You went through that well. Imagine how much that solidified. We got this, the two of us.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it did.
Work as a team. Yeah.
What's the number one reason people seek you out?
So it's interesting. So I've had folks who've been on online dating sites for sometimes years, sometimes months.
Trying to make it work.
And not realizing what's going wrong essentially in their approach. So they'll typically come for consultations where I actually, based off of a pre-consult questionnaire that I send them, I write their profile based off of their answers.
Without even meeting them in person.
Okay. Yeah. So they'll reach out to me. We'll have a phone consultation. They'll explain their issue. If they decide on just the consultation, because I offer 3 different services, a consultation where I write your online dating profile and then we meet and I describe why I've structured it the way I have to both market and protect you online from, to Joey's point about scammers.
Or from that guy who's going to bang on your door.
Yeah.
The
stalker.
My name's Jeff.
And then
Dahmer.
Sort of share my own experiences is how I went from being an ineffective dater to an effective one. If folks kind of recognize within that session that maybe there's some things they want to work on, then they can choose to either keep coming to me for coaching sessions or counseling. Because like I said, oftentimes we're wandering into online dating situations not fully recognizing our own attachment style and not fully recognizing how we present to
you
others.
blame the other.
Right. So it's
Presentation
really
of self is huge. I was a
Right.
sociology major.
Oh, were you?
One
Okay.
of my majors. Presentation of self is so incredibly intriguing to me.
It is.
And have you ever
Maybe
met?
that's why you come here every week.
Maybe. No, because it has nothing to do with. But I'm curious, how many people do you meet them, and what they think they're portraying is like not anything that's coming off on the paper. You'll help them match up the two. What if they don't? Like that self-realization must be tough.
It's a process, right? Because you're right. Oftentimes people will come in
Introspection
saying,
is awful. Okay.
men are awful or women are awful or whatever
Sure.
it might be.
Look at how they treat me.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we have to kind of dial
you're
that
like-
back a little bit. Right. Exactly.
right.
Because you can't control them. You're only going to
No.
be able to control yourself. So let's look at you.
There's a
basically.
song that goes along with that. It's called "It's Your Fault" by Kings and Liars.
Is it?
It's your fault,
It's usually your right. It's all choices we make.
and the chorus is "It's your fault. It's all your fault."
I wanna leave some room in that for sometimes you get involved in a situation that kind of because you've been on the serious end of this going wrong where it's not really all the times your fault, and sometimes
Exactly.
and sometimes the choices we make might set up a situation where you didn't really know how the other person was going to react, or like that person that shows up at your door. I mean, I had in college, I went on one date with this guy. He's a great guy. And I couldn't shake him for months. And it got to the point where, but it's happened and it's not unfamiliar. But I was also on a rugby team and I had the male rugby players.
Right.
They had my back. Once it got to the point where I saw this is I'm in over my head. I need help. I was able to get help, immediate help, big, giant, hairy, scary help.
Okay.
And it was able to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But some people are not in that situation. So it can go south sometimes real fast.
I did that. Remember when I said I was doing like 2-3 dates a day when I went on a lunch date with a young lady that I met, and I had a scheduled bar dinner date for later in the evening with another person. I went to the bar with this other date, and the girl I had been on the afternoon date with was a bartender.
Oh, God.
At that.
She was not happy. See, even the healthiest people, that's a jealous situation. We're human.
She wasn't happy, and
It feels weird.
it felt awkward and uncomfortable.
Right?
But I didn't lie.
No. And she probably was ultimately okay with it. It's just when it's right in your face, it's like, wait a second.
It was awkward all around, and
Of all the
she was
bars in all the
surprised.
world.
And
As she spikes his drink with bleach. This will clean him out.
she was very polite when she came over, and I said, I just learned something. She goes, "What's that?" I said, "One of the things I have to ask people on a date is what do they do and where do they work?"
You have to ask them about themselves? Corey,
Where exactly do you work?
And after that, everything was fixed.
She explained to me on the date that she was a bartender, but I never thought to ask her.
It could have been 6 million places you had never heard of.
Right.
I didn't know you were going to work.
If you found out, would you have changed plans?
Totally.
All right.
Yeah.
So see, there
I
is
would have been
that.
like, "Oh, that's where I was planning on going tonight," but
But you weren't trying. You weren't intentionally trying to hurt her feelings. It just-
no. And
But you see how that can get
and
in
everybody
multiple
realized
dating?
that, and
But you're really right about the boundary setting, because that's the other thing, and especially that insecure attachment type will oftentimes have really shaky boundaries that we have to work on to keep them safe.
And that's just not with romantic relationships. As adults, as children, you can find that in friends as well.
yeah.
Yep. Right. So if
This will help you all around, this kind of therapy.
Right.
Is it therapy?
It is therapy. Yeah.
Behavioral modification?
Yeah. So I practice CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So that basically posits that it's the way we interpret things that lead to our emotional reaction about them, which kind of turned things on its head, because we used to think about it the other way. We used to think that the way we emotionally had a reaction, that's what led to our interpretation of things.
Sure.
So, but the good news is that means when we can get in therapy and kind of tweak our interpretations of things that can change how we process things emotionally as well. So that's what we do a lot of with.
And when you're changing your behavior, you can change for the better. You can modify these learned responses to be healthy.
Yep. You can strengthen your attachment essentially, but it only comes once you've identified it.
With work too.
Right, with work.
If you're willing to put the microscope on it.
Right, exactly.
And, not only admit to it, but fix it.
Right, exactly.
Who wants to take responsibility for that mess? I'd much rather drink wine. Just kidding.
Do you have any amusing stories that you can share that have come out of any of your experiences, be it with either yourself or a client?
Let me think. Any amusing dating stories?
Yeah. Or anything in your career that you would deem as amusing, but still appropriate to share.
If you can't think of amusing, what about like really successful? It's like somebody that came in that was a mess or something like that.
And it's now very
and you were like, you're going to wind up in jail. We have to fix you immediately.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'll share one actually from my own online dating experience. And I actually share this one because I kind of feel like it's a good indicator of my journey from, like I said, going from being a really ineffective dater to then becoming an effective one. So one of the things I struggled a lot with when I was dating was trying to determine if I was being judgmental or if I was just exercising good judgment about someone.
Fine line.
It is, and it's tricky and doesn't
necessary.
Always feel, right. It doesn't always feel comfortable and all of that. So I remember I was chatting with, he was a vet actually. And I love
an animal vet or
an
a
animal
veteran?
vet.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I love animals. So I was like, oh, this is great. But I was also trying not to create a story in my head because that's something, we all can do
He's
very
got
quickly.
salt and pepper hair,
Right.
a stethoscope,
Exactly. He
loafers.
loves dogs. Right.
You guys do that?
Oh, yeah.
No, never.
But here's the funny thing. You guys do too. Because I have.
You totally do.
So here's the funniest part. I expected
I
my
guess.
practice to be mostly female. It's evenly split.
Yeah.
So I have just as many male clients. And I didn't realize, to be honest, I'm being honest here, I didn't realize how much men did that as well. Created these sort of stories
Like, all
based
they
off
need
of
is
very
one
little.
picture, and they're sending them $50,000 a week.
Nah, I was always a skeptic when it came to
Good. That skepticism's good.
It is actually, it's healthy.
Like I remember meeting
certain
a girl.
amount, I guess.
I remember I met a girl in an AOL online chat room. She's like, "I'm a model." I'm like, "No, you're not."
What, you
And
model
I would just
dog
talk to
food?
somebody
No,
else.
you're
not.
You model Purina?
You're a model.
Was she though? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
does
because I'm like, you're not.
I think the funniest part is that you told her you're not.
liar.
You're not.
And then she heard boo 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 boo, and that was it. That was the end of that relationship.
Like she's.
You pulled the phone right out of the modem on that one. Zit, zit, zit. All right, enough.
I'm a model in Los Angeles. Shut up. Shut up.
Maybe she modeled like footwear.
Listen.
She could be a nail polish model.
She might.
hand
She
model.
might be a famous model, and she might.
She's
one
going to
day I'm
listen to
going to
this
turn
episode
on.
right now and send you a picture.
Yeah, and turn
you're
on
gonna
one
be
of the
like-
late night talk shows, and she's gonna be like, "Man, this guy in an AOL chat room was like, you're not a model," and it's gonna be like, I don't know.
And then I had 15
who's my age now?
surgeries. Nobody. Nobody's our age. That's
Tyra
normal.
Banks?
Yeah,
She's
sure.
about our age.
It'd be
Right?
Tyra Banks.
Christy Brinkley.
She's a
She's
bit older, I
She's
think.
60
Like, yeah.
something, but
Whew.
wow, yeah.
I know, crazy. She looks
How do you do
amazing.
that?
I don't know.
So wait, where were we?
Oh,
I
so
need
the
to
vet.
know. Okay,
The
so
vet.
that
So
you had this whole romance novel in your head.
oh, I did, but I was trying to tamp it down because
and
again,
how do they live up to that?
right, they can't. That's the problem. So oftentimes it's bump when you actually meet, especially if you've spent way too much time talking back and forth or
Right.
emailing. So that's one thing I talk to a lot of my
That's
clients
how
about.
technology affects it.
It creates this false sense of intimacy. This idea of I know this person, they know me. When
then
in
you see each
reality,
other and
you
you're
don't
like,
know the person, they don't know you.
There is a chemistry, right? That you in like the first time you meet that, and you're expecting it to be this way because you feel so intimate because of all the
So
communications.
what ended up happening?
Oh,
with
so
it?
the vet. So, okay. So he was very cute. You know, we exchanged messages, but I was trying my new effective method of I want to meet sooner rather than later, right? I
Right.
don't want to build up these stories in my head. So I said, I think we exchanged, 5 or 6 messages. And I said, want to meet for a coffee? Because that was the other thing I had started doing is I would only meet for coffees because it was like an hour coffee.
Non-committal.
Right. And if it didn't go well, it didn't feel that disappointing. It was just an hour out of my life. It was
And at least you had a good cup of coffee. Right?
Exactly. So he agreed and we set a time. And then I don't know if it was the day of, maybe the day of or the day before, he canceled in kind of like an abrupt way. I mean, typically when you cancel someone, it's a little more polite or like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So it wasn't.
There's a pit bull with a tennis ball in his belly. I'm sorry.
Oh, and a medical emergency.
Yes.
I got to go save a giraffe.
So, that I would have been like, okay, hero. No. Anyway.
Can I watch?
Yeah.
There's a tiger. Having some tiger cubs.
It's a liger, actually.
I gotta help it. So go ahead.
I'm going to Africa. I'm never going to see you again. Red flag.
I'm really a CIA vet.
Exactly.
Taking me out to the Serengeti.
Navy
What
SEAL
lives
vet.
in the Serengeti? Okay,
Oh my God.
That was funny. We were all like,
You brought the conversation to a dead halt.
This is a very educated room here.
Serengeti.
I'm like, is that a real place? I think it is. Thinking back on my National Geographic. Tall grass, giraffes, lions.
We're Americans. We don't know geography.
I do. I swear it.
Oh,
If you said the
man.
Sahara, it would have been totally different.
What would you said? Nothing?
Same thing.
Nothing lives there. It's a desert.
Okay.
So sorry. So
go ahead.
He canceled this poor woman.
He canceled. So I remember.
Were you upset?
Yeah, because you have to gear yourself up for the day.
Yeah,
and
it
the
was
whole
the Navy
thing.
SEAL CIA
You
vet
probably shaved.
with salt and pepper hair.
You put in that work.
You matched your shirt to your socks.
Exactly.
I know.
Brush my teeth
I know.
again.
Ah.
Is that one of those things where you guys wear matching underwear?
Sure, it might be something you do.
Is that a thing?
Hey, maybe
A little
the
more
for the third
coordinated.
date.
Yeah,
Is that
Don't
what it is?
match.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm not.
And that's only for us, Corey. That's not for you. That makes us feel better.
Uh-huh.
It's like the cape underneath the clothes. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I was open to rescheduling, but I remember feeling kind of a twinge of like, I don't know about this. Like, all right. But I said, sure, let's reschedule. And we did. And then it came time for that date. And lo and behold, he canceled again.
No kidding.
That's an emotional roller coaster.
Right?
Okay, that's not nice.
So,
Even if you're not committed, it's still an up down. You're excited a little bit.
but here was the funny bit about it because the
You
second
walked into where she
cancellation.
works on another date.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was working as a bartender.
Oh, see? Full circle.
Right. So,
Ay vey.
He was the bartender.
what was interesting was I said, well, thank you for letting me know. It's
And
been
this is
really
it.
nice chatting with you and good luck online dating and beyond. And that was actually kind of one of my lines. I would say that all the time to people when
It was
kinda
a
like-
nice sign
yeah,
off.
it was a nice
your
sign off.
That's your
basically.
drop the
That was
mic
your Buzz
moment.
Lightyear.
Yeah.
Online
he-
dating and beyond.
Got enraged.
Wow.
He was
And-
controlling.
Yeah. And
Wow.
wrote this crazy email response. And so it felt very much like, bullet dodge sort of thing. But the nicest part was I remember because I was actually grocery shopping when I got his message saying, canceling for the second time. And I remember feeling like, oh, this made it really easy. And I just canceled and kind of went about my day and, finished
wrote 'em
grocery
off.
shopping. But I realized as I was walking around the store, what a journey I had taken because when I started, I would have been like, oh my God, what
Yeah.
happened? And I just wasn't operating that way
Next.
anymore. Pretty much. It was
Okay.
very much a next mentality. And I did, in fact, have a date the very next night. So
Awesome.
there you go.
They say the best way to get over is to get under.
There you go.
Maybe they were just talking about calendars.
Trisha.
They were talking about calendars. That's what they say.
Making it
They say these things.
They do.
Cybil. So if people are interested in learning more about you, CybilRyan.com.
Looking
Yes.
for help or advice.
So
Or-
either
All of that stuff.
yeah, consultations, coaching, counseling, all of it. They can go to my website, CybilRyan.com, or they can go to Psychology Today, where I'm listed in Bethany, Hamden, and Woodbridge.
And it's Cybil, CybilRyan.com.
Yes.
Just so people spell it right.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
I've seen her on the Cheshire Forum. You can give a quick shout out
Yep.
There you go.
We've
You're like,
seen her
hey,
there.
are you here?
Yeah,
Help me.
exactly.
Yeah. Or you could just send us a message and we'll put you in touch.
Okay.
It's been awesome to meet you.
Thank you so much.
I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you. Thank you both.
I had a good time too.
And this was a nice antidote to our first love episode that was so crushing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing some
Exactly.
light to it.
I would actually want to counter that sort of negative view of online dating and let you know that 40% of American couples now met online.
40%.
That's heterosexual couples. 60% of homosexual couples met online.
So it's not
Awesome.
needle in a haystack.
It's not needle in a haystack.
that's
this
a big
is how
number.
majority
60.
of Americans are now meeting.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, right? Right. Exactly.
It's like online.
Well, because
Yeah.
they're going out after they've met the person instead of meeting the person out.
So I'd like to thank everybody for listening. And listen, help us out. If you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode, please give us a 5-star rating.
Not a 2-star, Mom.
Leave us a review.
That legit happened. I'm not kidding.
I think that was such a nice compliment. She must have
And then I'm like, Mom, that's a great thing, but you put 2 stars. She's like, where is that review? I'm like, I don't know even where it is.
Yeah.
What, you just willy-nilly?
So give us a review on Facebook, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff.
And
wherever.
come get a coaster.
Come get a coaster. I'll give you a coaster and a sticker. The more money you donate, I mean, I'll come hang out with you for a day. And
If you're our
make fun of
listener
you.
in Bolivia, please write something somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be awesome too.
I want to know our Bolivia listener.
But we could definitely use all of your good, kind, awesome things. We're getting lots of positive reviews, positive stuff, and it keeps going. It keeps making it fun. So yeah, thanks for listening. And Cybil, again, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Like and share. Like
Trisha,
and share.
thank you for being here. As always, it's a pleasure to see you, and
Thank
I
you,
look
Court.
forward
I'm
to it every
so
week.
glad you feel better.
Thank you.
We have a couple really good shows coming up too.
Yeah?
We're very lucky.
What do we got?
We have exercise show next week.
Exercise.
Yeah, we have another Cheshire business coming up about
Okay.
languages. We've got
Awesome.
some really good show. We got Board of Ed coming on.
Fantastic.
We've got so many.
Awesome.
We have Sweet Claudes. I'm so
Right.
excited.
Yeah.
They're bringing samples.
Yeah, and you get to eat them all because I'm dairy.
All
I'm dairy
for
free.
me.
So,
All for me. I can't wait to find out what tofuti is.
well, we'll find out.
We will.
So thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you later. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Collective bye. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Let's get out of here! Like now!
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
Okay, see you later, pal.
Amigos, time to depart.